If I were to describe Doug Kalitta's racing career, it would be triumph, humbling, and rewarding. Doug Kalitta has most notably raced in the NHRA series, racing at Top Fuel cars. However, not a lot of racing fans, drag racing fans, or even some USAC fans know or do not recall the time he was in USAC. In this episode, we are going to be going over Doug Kalitta's racing career and his journey on being a USAC champion and NHRA Top Fuel champion. With that being said, let's begin. Doug Kalitta was born on August 20th, 1964 from Ypsilanti, Michigan. I'm sure I got that pronunciation of that town name wrong. I do apologize. Anyway, so Doug Kalitta is the nephew of Connie Kalitta and the father of Scott Kalitta, who was nicknamed the Bounty Hunter, that won 10 NHRA races as a Top Fuel driver, who most notably won the 1994 U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis and was the first Top Fuel driver to hit 200 miles per hour at the 1964 U.S. Nationals, and an owner of Kalitta Air, which is a cargo airline company. Unfortunately, I could not find any information about the early days and early racing careers of Doug Kalitta. However, for what I found, in 1991, Doug Kalitta would go full-time in USAC for the USAC National Midget Series. Before I begin, I just want to let y'all know that this is the first time I have made a USAC and NHRA video in this episode in terms of stats in general and all those things. So please bear with me, and please feel free to help me in the comments below if I do got some things wrong or if I missed some information. With that being said, let's continue. Doug Kalitta would win the USAC Midget Series Rookie of the Year in 1991. He would run 28 races in the USAC National Midget Series with 8 top 5s and 17 top 10s. Doug Kalitta will also race in the USAC Sprint Car National Series for 2 races, finishing in the top 10 at 5 races in the USAC Western State Midget Series with 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s. In 1992, Doug Kalitta would race in 10 races at the National Midget Series and would win his 4 races at the Indianapolis Raceway Park for the night before the 500, and the second ARCA race for the 7th race of the season. It would win 2 Winchester races for the 10th race of the season and 12 races of the season. I got that confusing. I do apologize for my script writing. Doug Kalitta would also have 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s. On the Silver Crown side, Doug Kalitta would DNQ at the Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Mellow Yellow 100, the Tony Benhauser 100 at Springfield, and at DuQuoin. On the USAC National Championship Series, Doug Kalitta competed 8 races, but would DNQ at Indianapolis for the Summer Sprint Classic, Salem, and Winchester, and competed in 6 USAC Western States Midget Series, 1 top 5s and 5 top 10s. In 1993, Doug Kalitta would compete in 16 races out of 19 and have 5 top 5s and 12 top 10s, finishing 4th in points. He would also make 1 start at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the USAC National Midget Series. In 1994, Doug Kalitta continues to focus on the USAC Sprint Car National Series for a championship. Doug Kalitta would also compete in 2 Silver Crown races, but crashed out at the 1994 Hoosier 100 and crashed out at DuQuoin. In the first 5 races of the 1994 season, Doug Kalitta started off with the 9th place finish at Eldora for Don Branson Judd Larson Memorial, 3rd at Winchester for the Rich Vogler Memorial, a 19th at the Terry Howe Action Track for the Tony Holman Classic, a 7th at Indianapolis for the Indiana Sprint Classic, and would get his first win of the season at Winchester for the Biltmore Court Classic after having a fast qualifying session and winning the first heat race. Unfortunately, the main event was remembered for the tragic accident of Robbie Stanley, who was a point leader coming into Winchester, which took place on lap 7 during the main event feature. For the next 2 races, Doug Kalitta would finish in 17th at Paragon Speedway and 16th at Salem. After a few races with top 5 to top 10s and a 15th place finish at Berlin, Doug Kalitta would once again win at Winchester for the Old Timers weekend. Halfway through the season, Trey House, who won the Salutes Bernice Balls on the 10th race of the season and also won the Jim Hurtubise Classic at Action Track, which was the 15th race of the season, were the 2 drivers fighting for the championship. While Trey House won the Jim Hurtubise Classic, Doug Kalitta would finish at 17th, meaning he was 32 points behind Trey House. However, Doug Kalitta would take the point lead away from Trey House by 16 points after finishing 3rd at Indianapolis for the Mayflower Sprint Classic, while Trey House finished in 10th. In a shocking turn of events at I-96 Speedway, Doug Kalitta would not only race in the last chance qualifier and finish P5 in Heat 3, Doug Kalitta would miss the main event after finishing in P12. Treehouse would once again finish in P10, but would steal the point lead away from Doug Kalitta by 26 points. Not only Treehouse and Doug Kalitta were fighting for the championship, Kevin Thomas and Eric Gordon were also part of the title fight after I-96. Thankfully for Doug Kalitta would bounce back to get his third win at the 1994 season at Winchester for the 20th race of the season, closing in on Trehouse's point lead by 14 points. Doug Kalitta would finally take back the point lead away at Winchester for the 22nd race of the season, 4 points ahead of Treehouse. For the final 5 races of the season, Doug Kalitta will hold on to the point lead and hang on tight against Treehouse and would win the 1994 USAC National Championship Series. Despite missing one main event race, Doug Kalitta was more consistent than Treehouse. Doug's championship stats in 1994 look like this. Doug won 3 races, he earned 13 top 5s and 19 top 10s and an average finish of 7.46 and completed all races without a single DNF. Very impressive stat and an amazing championship season for Doug. After 1994, Doug Kalitta would win 4 more USAC National Championship races between 1995 to 1997, finishing 22 top 5s and 39 top 10s total, finishing second in points twice in 1995, losing to Tony Stewart in 1995, and losing to Brian Taylor in 1996, which Brian Taylor would win the championship once again in 1997. Man, it is crazy that almost all of his national wins are in Winchester. In the Midget Series, Doug Kalitta would race in the USAC Midget Series in 1995, winning the Sammy Smith Memorial Race at Winchester, the Midgets race while winning the Sprint race in Nationals. Doug Kalitta would win 5 more USAC Midget races. In 1996, 2 of them were at Indianapolis and 3 of them were at Winchester. Doug Kalitta's final USAC Midget Series win was at the 1996 Sammy Smith Memorial Race. Doug's last ever USAC win was in Winchester in 1997 for the 28th race of the season. I just want to clarify other stuff. I do apologize if this does sound confusing. According to Doug Kalitta's USAC Midget Series stats, in 67 starts, Doug Kalitta had 10 wins, 26 top 5s, and 42 top 10s, with the best points finisher being 5th back in 1996 while running half of that season. He's got 4 top 5s and 8 top 10s at the USAC Western Series. Doug Kalitta attempted to race his way into the 1998 Rich Vogel Classic at Winchester, but would unfortunately miss out on the main event due to finishing 8th, last place, in the first heat race. And just like that, Doug Kalitta's USAC racing career was over. At least he completed his USAC career as a champion. Now, it was on to the next chapter of his racing career. Now, a couple of things before we move forward. First of all, this is my first time making any videos about anything related to USAC Sprint cars. I'm sure I've made some mistakes, and if I did or if I missed something like I mentioned, please feel free to comment below, correct me. Any feedback is welcome. Second of all, during his time before NHRA while racing USAC, Doug Kalitta would race in the World of Outlaws back in 1995 for 3 races at St. Augustine Speedway twice and once in Eldora, 5 All-Star Circuit of Champions races, 2 races in 1994, 3 races in 1995, and finally, Doug Kalitta would race in ARCA for 5 races between 1996 and 1997. Doug Kalitta will make his ARCA debut at the first Michigan race, finishing in 26th after 8 laps due to oil leaking, engine issues at the second Michigan race, finishing 21st after 32 laps. In 1997, Doug Kalitta will have more issues at the first Michigan race with ignition issues after 3 laps. In his final 2 races, Doug Kalitta will finish 17th at Gateway, 5 laps down, and 22nd at Charlotte, 29 laps down. Alright, now it's time to move on to Doug Kalitta's NHRA racing career. In 1998, Doug Kalitta will make his NHRA Series debut, replacing driving duties for cousin Scott Kalitta. Doug Kalitta will have a good rookie season and was even a race-winning contender.
Final round, Top Fuel Eliminator. Doug Kalitta driving for his uncle, Connie Kalitta, taking the seat formerly occupied by Scott Kalitta following his retirement a year ago. But Kalitta, Doug that is, no stranger to motorsports. He's been Rookie of the Year a couple of times in the Sprint Car Midget Car Circuit. His opponent, Bruce Sarver. The Atco Power Steering Remanufacturing Burroughs Racing entry has been the surprise contender of this race. From his 15th qualifying spot, he is now racing the #1 car this weekend. the day. One of the best races ever. You can tell by the reaction time at the starting line. Doug Kalitta won it. The margin of victory was 0.05 of a second, and Bruce Sarver had a quicker elapsed time. The starting line advantage went to Doug Kalitta. Matter of inches. 4:80 the time for Kalitta. 4:78 for Bruce Sarver. Doug Kalitta winning his first.
Doug Kalitta, I think this is poetic justice. Your first final round, if my memory serves, you got beat on the starting line. In your second one, you won this race on the starting line. Great day.
Yeah, I tell you, the American International Kitty Hawk car really left good. Ed McCullough and all the guys did a great job today, and really just happy to be here up in the wine country of California with great fans. You know, everybody's been real nice to us this weekend, and it's just a real joy to be out front here today.
In the finals, Doug Kalitta would race in the final round at the Outer Light Nationals at Sonoma, racing against Bruce Sarver, beating Sarver and winning his very first NHRA Top Fuel race with a reaction time of .454 and a elapsed time of 4:80, going 306 miles per hour. Later in the Winston finals at Sonoma for the 1998 NHRA season finale, Doug Kalitta would win $100,000 for the Top Fuel shootout for the select Top Fuel drivers. After 1998, Doug Kalitta would win the 1998 Automobile Club of Southern California Road to the Future Award and was finished 6th in points. Between 1999 through 2002, Doug Kalitta would win 8 races. Doug Kalitta would get his first win of the 2003 NHRA season at Houston for the O'Reilly Spring Nationals when he made a pass on Corey McClenathan with a passing time of 4.580 and a 323.43 miles per hour after McClenathan lost traction and spun his tires. Very similar to Dallas back in 2002 for the O'Reilly Nationals when Doug Kalitta won the race after Corey McClenathan spun his tires, but with a 4.582 and a speed of 322.58 miles per hour. The race weekend overall was a fantastic and fast one because in qualifying, Doug Kalitta clocked in at the time the fastest pass in Top Fuel history with a speed of 333.91 miles per hour. Doug Kalitta would win his second race of the season at Englishtown for the K&N Filter Super Nationals after beating point leader Larry Dixon with a time of 4.494 and a speed of 328.54 miles per hour. Doug Kalitta would win his third race of the season at Gateway for the Sears Craftsman Nationals, beating Scott Wise with a time of 4.602 and a speed of 312.35 miles per hour. And he would get his fourth and final win of the 2003 season at Brainerd after a rematch with Tony Schumacher after Tony beat Doug in the 2000 Brainerd Top Fuel Finals. Unfortunately, only the Pro Stock Motorcycle class Brainerd race is available to watch on YouTube as of the making of this video. Despite winning 4 races and winning the Top Fuel shootout for the second time, Doug Kalitta would finish second in points to Larry Dixon by 330 points after Sonoma 2, who crowned his second straight championship after Dallas with 2 races to go due to having a big point lead. Doug Kalitta was winning races to pull a fast record at the fall Chicago race with a 4.428, but Doug Kalitta was not consistent enough. Doug went through 3 first-round losses of the season between Bristol and Spring Chicago. Larry Dixon was just more consistent. Now, it was on to the 2004 season for Doug Kalitta to go for the championship. In 2004, Doug Kalitta would win 4 races. In 2004, Doug Kalitta would get his first win at Chicago in the Route 66 Nationals with a time of 4.420 and a speed of 328.22 miles per hour, a record-breaking pass, defeating Brandon Bernstein, who did a little wheelie. A second win at St. Louis with a speed of 326.87 miles per hour and a time of 4.35, defeating teammate David Grubnick, which would finally get him to the point lead. Unfortunately, that race was remembered due to tragic reasons. Darrell Rosa was killed during the end of the second round of the Sears Craftsman National Finals, racing against Scott Kalitta, Doug's cousin. After Russell's tire exploded after passing the finish line, though Russell was unconscious, he was still breathing. Unfortunately, later that night, Darrell Rosa was dead. He was only 35 years old. Doug Kalitta would get his third win at Sonoma, rematching David Grubnick and defeating him with a time of 4.678 and a speed of 315.05, and the fourth win at Las Vegas for the AC Delco Las Vegas Nationals with a time of 4.530 and a speed of 329.02, defeating Morgan Lucas. Unfortunately for Doug Kalitta, he would come up 1 spot short behind the Sarge, Tony Schumacher, who won 10 races in the Top Fuel Finals, which would win his second championship in 2004 by 326 points. The Sarge, who got his first championship in 1999, would be on a championship spree between 2004 to 2009, and his recent title was in 2014. Despite being runner-up for the third time in points, 2004 was a fast year for Doug Kalitta. During the SummitRacing.com Nationals weekends at Las Vegas, Doug Kalitta made a record for the fastest pass ever that weekend during Saturday's second round of Top Fuel qualifying with a speed of 335.57 miles per hour and a time of 4.83 in a Chicago record-breaking pass, but was shy of a thousandth of a second to back up the mark to make it a national record. So close, still a long way to go for his first Top Fuel championship. 2005 would be another successful year for Doug Kalitta. Doug Kalitta was in 7 final rounds and won 5 of them at Gainesville for the Gator Nationals with a time of 5.182 and a speed of 296.24 miles per hour, defeating Larry Dixon. Doug Kalitta will also win 2 finals in a row, starting at Bristol for the Thunder Valley Nationals with a time of 4.593 and a time of 322.50 miles per hour, defeating Rod Fuller. In Atlanta for the Southern Nationals with a time of 4.567 and a speed of 325.69 miles per hour, defeating David Baca. Doug Kalitta will win 2 more races consecutively in the summer at Sonoma for the Fram Autolite Nationals with a time of 4.665 and a speed of 319.90 miles per hour, defeating Doug Herbert. His 5th Sonoma win, and Brainerd for the Lucas Oil Nationals with a time of 4.593 and a speed of 325.92 miles per hour, defeating Larry Dixon for the 2nd time. He also won 3 number 1 qualifying awards and led the point standings for 10 races, but he would end up finishing 3rd in the final standings, 28 points behind Larry Dixon, who was 2nd in points, 395 points behind the Sarge, Tony Schumacher. Another top 3 points finish for Doug Kalitta after another consistent season and strong season, but once again, he was not consistent enough to win a championship. Although Doug Kalitta did not win championship, his team won the inaugural Full Throttle Pit Crew Challenge due to the consistency and hard work throughout the 2005 season. Now, it was in 2006. 2006 would be another competitive and strong year for Doug Kalitta. Kalitta would win his first 2 races in a row at Bristol for the Thunder Valley Nationals with a time of 4.537 and a speed of 331.53, defeating Rod Fuller. Another win at Atlanta for the Summit Racing Equipment Southern Nationals with a time of 4.469 and a speed of 327.59, passing and defeating Melanie Troxell. 1 month later, Doug Kalitta would once again go 2 in a row at Topeka for the O'Reilly Summer Nationals with a time of 4.676 and a speed of 310.98 miles per hour, defeating Brendan Bernstein. And at the Route 66 Raceway, Doug Kalitta would rematch against Melanie Troxell in the finals for the Carquest Auto Parts Nationals, but Melanie Troxell would spin her tires and get sideways. Doug Kalitta would win again with a time of 4.503 and a speed of 320.23 miles per hour. Doug Kalitta would win 1 more race at Memphis for the O'Reilly Mid-South Nationals with a time of 4.604 and a speed of 313.95 miles per hour, defeating Hillary Will, who was the first-time finalist. But Doug Kalitta's highlights of the day was defeating Tony Schumacher during the 2nd round while the title fight was still on. Coming into the season finale at Pomona, Doug Kalitta held on to the championship lead by 45 points ahead of the Sarge. It was a dramatic championship battle. While Doug and Tony advanced into the 1st and 2nd round, Tony Schumacher's teammate Melanie Troxell would beat Doug Kalitta in the semifinals at the World Finals in Pomona. Doug Kalitta, who was trying to win the title by winning the final round, would lose the championship after not only Melanie Troxell defeated him, but not only Tony Schumacher also won the Top Fuel final round of the season. Not only he won the 2006 championship, Tony Schumacher would also make the run with a time of national elapsed time of 4.428 miles per hour and a speed of 327.98 miles per hour. Tony's 3rd straight Top Fuel championship, Doug Kalitta would once again finish 2nd in points by 14 points. After 2006, Doug Kalitta would not be in the championship title fight for a while. In 2007, Doug would finish in 10th, 9th in 2008, 8th in 2009, 6th in 2010, 8th in 2011, 6th in 2012, 3rd in 2013, 165 points behind Sean Langdon, who won the 2013 NHRA Top Fuel Championship, 5th in 2014, and 5th in 2015. Before I clarify, I'm clarifying that I'm going by the topic of the story instead of what happened between 2007 through 2015. So yeah, I'm aware that I had missed how many races he won between those years. I do apologize, so let's continue. In 2016, Doug Kalitta not only would win 1 race, not 2, but 3 races in a row at the 2016 Spring Nationals in Houston, Texas with a whole shot win, a time of 3.813 and a speed of 280.6 3.60 miles per hour, defeating Steve Torrance. In Atlanta for the 2016 Southern Nationals, Doug won the race with a time of 3.801 and a speed of 323.19 miles per hour, defeating J.R. Todd in the closest final in NHRA Top Fuel history by .0000. 5 zeros since 2006 in a Pedalfest victory at Topeka for the 2016 Kansas Nationals with a time of 5.402 and a speed of 238.85 miles per hour, defeating Antron Brown. Those USAC racing days have paid off. That's what I can say. Doug Kalitta will get his fourth and final win in 2016 at the Pomona season finale with a time of 3.745 and a speed of 326.63 miles per hour, defeating J.R. Todd. Despite winning 4 races in 2016, Doug Kalitta will once again finish in second, 130 points behind champion Antron Brown. In 2017, Doug Kalitta will win 1 race at Charlotte for the Carolina Nationals. He would finish third in points. In 2018, Doug Kalitta would win 1 race at Pomona for the Winter Nationals. It would finish 8th in points. But 2019 to 2020, Doug Kalitta will have 5 wins. In 2019, Doug Kalitta won 3 races at Pomona and the Winter Nationals, Indianapolis for the U.S. Nationals, which would be his first and only U.S. Nationals win so far, and Pomona for the finals. Doug Kalitta will finish 2nd in points, 3 points behind the 2019 Top Fuel champion, Steve Torrance. In 2020, Doug Kalitta will kick off the season at Pomona with not only another win, but he would make history by winning 3 consecutive Pomona Winter National races. It would win at Gateway for the Midwest Nationals, but he would once again lose the championship to, again, Steve Torrance, this time by 193 points. Can Doug Kalitta finally get his chance? Oh my. In 2021, Doug Kalitta will go winless and finish 10th in points, only advancing to the finals twice, and would go winless in 2022 and finish 10th in points. Although it's been a rough couple of seasons for Doug Kalitta, let's just say Doug Kalitta will rebound big in 2023. Let's go to 2023, shall we? In 2023, NHRA and Mission Foods introduced a Saturday challenge called the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. Doug Kalitta would be the first Top Fuel driver to win the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge at Arizona for the Arizona National Weekends. As for the Sunday races, it would take Doug Kalitta until the 2023 Pep Boys Nationals at Reading to return to victory lane after 3 years, but he would have to go through hell to get there. During qualifying, Doug Kalitta had a tire down while going against Justin Ashley, but he made an amazing save. Doug Kalitta would also defeat Leah Pruitt in a whole shot win during the semifinals, which helped him get to the finals and win it. But the championship hunt was just getting started, y'all. Doug Kalitta would go back-to-back at Charlotte. At Gateway, Doug Kalitta would be eliminated in round 2, being defeated by Leah Pruitt. And Dallas, Doug Kalitta would once again be eliminated in round 2, being defeated by Leah Pruitt once more. In Las Vegas, Doug Kalitta would once again be eliminated, this time by Josh Hart. And now it was time for the championship fight at Pomona. Doug Kalitta had a great and fast weekend so far. Doug Kalitta would race in the finals, racing against Leah Pruitt. Doug Kalitta has run through this so long, he gets to live through it again. 1 round, 1 race, 1 run, and 1 shot for the championship.
Alan Johnson standing stoically behind the dragster with his arms crossed. Neil Strasbaugh, Mike Domagala move to the rear of their car, as does Brian Hewson. This is the final of Top Fuel, and a new champion is to be crowned. Into the night they go, and the win light comes on for Doug Kalitta. 367.3, 334 miles an hour. The wait is over. Doug Kalitta is a world champion of Top Fuel drag racing. Connie is on the property. And the man who delivered Doug Kalitta's lowest moment of his career here has delivered his highest.
Doug Kalitta takes the handshake from president of the NHRA, Glenn Cromwell, getting the winner's medal and the race win. The hat presentation by Ned Walliser. Brian, he was beaming with a smile up here before he took that walk down the NHRA champion carpet. You can hear the applause up here. And Doug, this is a moment for the history of drag racing. I imagine there is a community of drag race fans that are on their feet right now. You were greeted by the safety safari as you made it up to the top end with claps. 26 seasons, 6 runner-ups, and this guy is yours. What kept you pushing for this moment?
Yeah, no, it's hard to believe. I dream about this opportunity, and when we're here. So just really hats off to Alan and Brian and everybody on my team, and obviously all the fans and support that I've gotten. So we're taking this baby back to Ypsilanti with Scott and Connie's. Scott's won this thing a couple times, so I'll be wearing it proud.
Doug Kalitta is your 2023 Top Fuel World Champion.
It finally happened. It happened. It has finally happened. After 26 years, after being in second in points 6 times, Doug Kalitta was now and forever an NHRA Top Fuel champion. It was a very popular win and one of the best moments in the sport. It was one hell of a long journey after dealing with so many title losses while being strong, consistent, and fast. Guess what, y'all? Doug Kalitta is now an NHRA Top Fuel champion. He can call himself a champion. As of the making of this video, which is on June 26, 2024, Doug Kalitta recently got his 3rd win of the season at Virginia. So he has 55 career wins so far, and he's going for his 2nd straight NHRA Top Fuel championship. Let's see how many wins Doug will get, and let's see if he's going for the championship once more in 2024 and go back to back. Let's see how it goes before I upload this episode. Whoo boy. This has been a long video to work on. I have never done an NHRA video in episode. I mean, I did a drag racing video last year, but that was on the motorsports topic thing. But for racing stories, I've never done it. So, yeah, very enthusiastic, very hard work. I'm so glad this video is uploaded for you guys to watch. I can't wait to make more of these. Ironically, the next episode is another NHRA episode, so stick around. So, all right, before I end this episode, I just want to say, I'm sure this episode was kind of rough to watch, and I'm sure I missed something, and so on and so forth. So, like I mentioned, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about anything, and feel free to be critical if I have done something wrong. I don't mind. I'm all for feedback. Any feedback is welcome. It's understandable. I do have another NHRA Racing Stories episode coming up, working on, like I said. Hopefully, it does not take as long. So stick around. I just want to say thank y'all so much for your patience. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode of Racing Stories. And also, thank you guys so much for an amazing 5 years of Racing Stories. I wouldn't have made this series without you guys. You guys are the best out there. Thank y'all so much for watching. This is Ian, the Motorsports Man, signing off. Goodbye, everybody.